Today, as we continue on with our biome ecosystem series, we're going to be talking about lakes and reservoir ecosystems, and the who, what, when, where, why, and how this information can better help us to grow plants. Let's get started. When you look at different biomes and ecosystems, it's really important to understand why this ecosystem exists and everything that goes into it. You have the latitude, longitude, temperature, precipitation. All of these different factors combine together to help really dictate the rock formations, the soil pH, the type of nutrients that can be in the area, and therefore affect the type of plants that are going to evolve over time. And that's one of the reasons why it's so important to understand all of these different ecosystems, because by understanding the ecosystem, we can better try and emulate the plants that have evolved over time in these areas. And in particular, lakes and reservoir systems are unique in the fact that they are literally located all over the world. They are generally formed by precipitation forming in a lowland region of an area. However, they're not going to be specific to a general latitude, longitude, because as long as there is a shallow dip in the land where water can collect and remain there and not seeping through the soil, you're generally going to get a lake or reservoir formed. These are also unique in that they are so small that they can be formed by man or by nature. In fact, one of the more pleasant pastimes that you'll see on some areas where there tends to be high rainfall, like where I used to live in Louisiana, we had a small pond on the area that would collect where local frogs and other little critters would like to collect seasonally in the early spring whenever we'd get a massive rainfall, or especially when we'd have a tornado come or a hurricane come through. Large amounts of water would collect, making it a perfect area for all the water to collect so our house wouldn't get flooded. However, these can be either crystal clear lakes high in the mountains or deep in the lowland swamp areas. That is why they are located everywhere, and literally hundreds of thousands of them are located everywhere. Because they are located everywhere, the temperatures will vary greatly, with some lakes that are in the more northern climates are going to be much colder, whereas some that are a little bit southern towards the equator are going to be much warmer. And that's also going to change with altitude as well. The higher the lake is in altitude, the colder the surrounding region is going to be. The lower in altitude, the warmer it's going to be, generally speaking. Now, this can change based on the regional level, but those are just some general rules of thumb. The unique thing, though, is because of the lake or reservoir, it helps to create a small microclimate where the body of water will act as a small, localized warming system. A great example of this can be seen in the northern United States in the Michigan and Wisconsin area. Even though it is at a longitude and latitude that is very, very cold, inland speaking, that's very close by when you look at North Dakota, South Dakota, because you have the Great Lakes right next to it, those bodies of water act as a milding factor where it is actually much warmer of a small microclimate than it would have been had those lakes not existed, which is called the lake effect. When you look at lakes and reservoirs, typically speaking, you're going to have a little bit higher of precipitation because you need some water to collect and hold within a region just for these to form in an inland area. This can be in the form of glacier melt, snow melt in early springtime, or seasonal rains that help to fill it up. With that being said, depending on how much or little rain they get, lakes and reservoirs can also be seasonal in nature, where they can physically exist year-round, or they can completely disappear and only come during the early spring melts when it does fill it up. Or it can be somewhere in between where you have a larger lake versus a smaller lake, and it will change based on the season and how much rain that area receives. The soil structure of an area is going to be just as diverse in that they are located all over the place. If it's higher up in the mountains where you have a bedrock foundation that helps to keep the plants in or the water in, then you're going to tend to have a higher pH because there's not as much rainfall driving the nutrients down, and therefore you're going to have higher nutrients in the surrounding area. If it's a little bit lower, then the area is going to tend to be a clay base, and so your pH is typically going to be a little bit lower, with the higher rainfall lowering it. However, in these situations, because it's a little bit lower in the area, there is going to tend to be a little bit higher in nutrients as well, because it tends to be the lower section of the region as far as land geographically speaking is concerned. Plants are going to be just as varied as well near lakes and reservoirs, because those that are in higher altitudes are going to be a little bit more towards alpine or coniferous forests with small needle-like leaves. Those lakes and reservoirs that are located in more warm or mild climates are going to be deciduous or broadleaf in nature, that can utilize the higher amount of sunlight that they're going to receive. The types of animals in this area are going to be just as varied as the location, with those in the higher mountains those plants that are at higher altitude are going to be more towards the alpine ecosystems that are surrounding it, whereas those that are further south in the more hot climates are going to tend to be amphibians or reptiles based on that local climate. In fact, the biome of reservoirs and lakes actually wasn't recognized as an independent reservoir outside the bigger ecosystems in which they exist until the early 90s, when it was decided that it was so unique of a microclimate that it was different enough to justify it being its own individual ecosystem. When you look at some of the animals, though, it is going to be unique that these lakes and reservoirs are going to be a central meeting place where they all gather, as the lake or reservoir is going to be the easiest access to water that many of the animals are going to be able to get to. Both herbivores and predators are going to gather in this area. So not only is it going to be an area that's going to sustain life, but it could potentially be a gathering point in which they could take away life as well. So that tends to give it the dual-edged sword that could be beneficial, but yet negative towards the animal itself. Some of the great benefits that exist in this, as we talked a little bit about earlier, is depending on what type of climate you have that the individual microclimate of lakes or reservoirs exist in, it's going to have a milding effect towards it. If it's a hotter region, it's going to help give it a little bit cooler to the evaporation of the lake effect that we talked about earlier, or if it's a colder, it's going to help warm it up as well. As the lake tries to freeze during the wintertime, it's going to give off energy, slightly warming the surrounding area. When you're looking at some of the importance of these, that main point of it being an oasis for the surrounding area is probably the most important aspect I like to look at for these situations. And so the question that I have for you today is, what type of lake or reservoir do you have close by? Is there a perfect fishing spot that you like to go and relax? I know that I have one of my personal favorites. I would encourage you to do the same. Let me know in the comments section below, what's your personal lake or reservoir to go relax near? I would like to thank you for joining us this video as we take a look at seeing the small biome or ecosystem of lakes and reservoirs, and look forward to seeing you next time. And now, here's a word from our sponsors. This episode of Yule Acres is brought to you by Yule Acres Grapefruit Naturally Scented Lip Balm. For more information about this product, click on the link in the description below.